Okay, welcome to the Dover Community Center Building Committee. I'm Dick Malcolm, the chair of the committee. This is the meeting on August 12th, 2024. Following the guidance issued by the state in 2020 regarding the open meeting law, this public meeting will be held remotely, and individuals wishing to participate may do so by utilizing Zoom video conference technology. To join the meeting by video conferencing using a computer, tablet, or phone, please go to the Zoom information listed on the town website under meetings and agendas. This meeting is being recorded. So we'll start off with a roll call of committee members present. David Billings.
Here.
Barry Goldman.
Yes, present.
And I am Dick Malcolm, and I am also present. Absent is Ruth Townsend and Luciana Birdie. Okay, the first order of business is approval of meeting minutes. We have three meeting minutes to approve, one on 6/24/24, another one for 7/11/24, and the third one is 7/30/24. To refresh your memory, the meeting on 6/24 was pretty much encompasses a bunch of PCOs. Our 7/11 was our normal monthly meeting, and on 7/30 that was our special meeting for the AV contractor. So is there any discussion about those meeting minutes? If not, can somebody make a motion to approve those three meeting minutes?
Well, I have a quick question, Dick.
Yes, please.
Since we don't have a quorum, can we approve this?
Oh, we don't.
Or is this for information only until we get a quorum?
Well, we are now, Barry, a committee of 5. So we have 3 of us present. So we do have a quorum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you don't count the original 7 then?
No, the original 7 doesn't count anymore. So we are official with 3 of us.
Okay.
So we're good to go on that front, but thank you for bringing it up. Okay, I think we had a motion. Was there a second?
Second.
Okay, we will vote for all those in favor. I'll poll the committee. David Billings.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
And I am a yes as well. So that's the approval of the minutes. Okay, next on the agenda, I'm going to turn that over to Al Estevez from Colliers, who's the town owner's project manager. Okay, Al.
Thank you, Dick, and welcome everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
Gonna get started with the construction progress. So we had a lot of progress during the month of July. On the site, we tied in the domestic water main along Springdale Ave. That work has been completed, tested, 100% done with that. At the 1910 building, we also completed the perimeter French drain, and along with that, the fieldstone foundation, repointing, dam proofing, backfilling, geotextile fabric, all that stuff, that's complete. At the pavilion building, rough MEPs are well underway, and we're actually looking at getting the electrical inspection this week. Also at the pavilion building, on the roof, we've completed the installation of the insulation, sheathing, and shingles are about 50% complete. At the gym connector piece, we've placed the concrete ramp. The electric roof framing is also complete. Priming of the gym ceiling and walls is also complete. You'll see that in a picture. Sprinkler piping is well underway. And at the main electric room, we had some panels installed and switch gear. At the 1910 building, the attic HVAC roof is substantially complete at this point, and fire protection also started. It's probably substantially complete as of today. You'll see some of that in the pictures. A big milestone for the month of July was completing the seismic upgrades at the 1910 building. That opened up a lot of work with the floor framing and just general framing and rough MEPs start. We completed the sprung dance floor framing during the month of July. second floor framing is substantially complete at this point, and the first floor rough MEPs are also substantially complete. Shingles at the 1910 building, they're substantially complete as well. So a lot of progress in the month of July. It is now the 12th, and since the end of the month, we've started excavation for the infiltration system. I actually saw that yesterday, and they have all of the I was going to say ductwork, the piping, all the piping installed, and it's getting backfilled. So that's going to be complete this week. And another big one is we're restarting with the masonry work. Currently, they're working at the gym building, laying brick. Upcoming activities is, like I mentioned, completion of the infiltration system that should be complete this week. Window installations, MEP inspections, as well as capping up the existing water service. Any questions on the progress?
Are we going to get into the overall schedule in a minute?
We are.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, so looking at some photos, the picture on the left, this is taken last Tuesday, and you can see on the pavilion building, the shingles, which they're about 50% complete. And you can sort of see some of the repointing that picked up again on the 1910 building. As I mentioned, picture on the right at the gym building, they're starting back up with the brick. As you can see, all the brick is staged here. Right now, they're probably about 4 foot higher than was shown in this picture. So we had some progress since last Tuesday. Going inside the pavilion building, towards the beginning of July, they started the ductwork up in the kitchen area, and that's now being completed. A picture on the right shows the installation of the ductwork as of last Tuesday. That's all complete now. Moving on to stair number 2. This is by the electric room. Picture on the left is what it looked like in the beginning of July. As you can see, the ramp had not been installed yet. Very little electrical wiring. And you can see in the picture on the right, ramp is in, framing is in. You can actually see a fine coil unit up at the top, a bunch of wiring to the right. And in the back, you can sort of see some of the panels installed in the electric room. Moving on to the main office suite area. This is where the park and rec offices are gonna be. MEPs are essentially substantially complete at this point. As you can see, the framing is in, blocking is in. So good progress there. You can see the line sets for the fine coil units. Picture on the right shows the first floor of the 1910 building. Framing is complete, blocking is in. Rough MEPs were ongoing at this point, and they were well underway as of last Tuesday. And moving on to the gym building, like I mentioned, everything's been primed, all the walls and the ceilings were primed. So big difference there from the beginning of July. Moving on to the second floor of the 1910 building, a lot of work happened in this space. With the picture on the left shows the beginning of the month, they were still working on some of the floor framing for the sprung dance flooring. This entire floor is built up to align with the new, due to the thickness of the sprung dance flooring and to align with the new construction. And here the work that took place was the seismic upgrades, which opened up all of the framing that you can see on the right, essentially substantially complete at this point, and rough MEPs are ongoing. Moving up to the attic of the 1910 building, picture on the left is the beginning of the month. You can see some of the ductwork and fine coil units had started to be hung here. And the picture on the right shows all of the brown ductwork is in. You can see some of the strapping for the vapor retarder. And then you can see the sprinkler piping that is up and also laid on the floor. So that was ongoing as of last Tuesday. Moving up to the roof of the gym, you can see that the rooftop units were installed. Those were inspected today by the town's third-party MEP commissioning agent. That's R.W. Sullivan. And then you can see another condensing unit here in the back. And lastly, going to the 1910 building, this is a picture on the left shows a sample of what the exposed stone is going to look like. And then the picture on the right, this is the excavation for the infiltration system. And again, all of that piping, piping is in, and the backfill is ongoing. That should be done this week. Any questions on the pictures? Okay, moving on to the construction schedule, I do have a couple of updates on this. We received an updated construction schedule today that shows that the contractor is anticipating achieving substantial completion at the beginning of January of next year. So this is 3 months behind their current contractual substantial completion date, and it is about a month more than what they were showing in their last schedule, which was from May of this year. Obviously, we'll continue to work with the town's legal counsel on this. I've already notified them about this updated schedule. And we were already withholding a total of $88,500 from the contractor until a delay claim, a formal delay claim, and a corrective plan is provided. Those have not been provided yet, so we continue to hold that amount. And essentially, because the contractor is now showing that they are more behind schedule than before, potentially this increases the amount that we can hold back from the contractor. This is something that I am working with town's legal counsel on. And again, the schedule, we just received it today. I haven't had a chance to go into it in detail, but these are the major milestones. And you can see here in the middle where my cursor is, January 7, 2025 for substantial completion. And this is when the building can be turned over to the town. We would have the certificate of occupancy at that point. And then final completion, when all the punch work is done, is February 11, 2025. Questions?
Can I ask a question? Yeah, can I ask a question?
Hi,
So-
yes, ma'am.
This is Luciana. So last time they submitted a schedule was May. When did we start? When was the project started?
The project started in July of last year.
It's going to take
Sure.
a year and a half to build a tiny building.
Yeah. This is,
I think $80,000 is a joke. We just have to look at more substantial consequences to this. It's unacceptable to me. This type of delay. It was already 2 months, and then between May and now. So between May and now, they should have. Are they required to submit a monthly project report after this? So from May to now, they never submitted one, because you said last time they submitted a schedule was May. What about June, July?
No schedule update for June or July, Luciana.
So that means that June and July, we can assume that they had exactly the same schedule if they didn't submit anything.
Yeah.
We just cannot. What is the construction value of this building?
It's 19.324 million.
$19 million, a year and a half.
Yeah, Luciana,
So-
I can talk to. Go ahead.
No, I'm just.
Yeah, I can speak to the 88,500 a little bit more and how that amount was determined. So in the contract, we have liquidated damages at a rate of $1,500 per calendar day. The way that was calculated early on in the project was based on what we anticipated the architects and OPM fees were going to be to extend the project. And so that is actually very close to what the damages for the town would be. It would be around $1,500. It's probably a little bit more, but not much. So the town's anticipated damages, actual damages for every day of delay is about $1,500. And so the way that how we came up with the 88,500 is based on the contract rates of $1,500 per calendar day, based on the 59 days that they were behind. The contractor was saying they were behind as of the last schedule update. Because so the 59 days times 1,500, that's the 88,500, which again, it's close to what we anticipate the town's damages to be. Now, because the contractor is now saying that they are more behind, potentially we can withhold more from the contractor. So that is something that I'm working with town's legal counsel. And if we do the math, it's 98 days times 1,500. That was like $140 something thousand. So we have potentially another around 58,000 that we can hold back from the contractor, obviously subject to town's legal counsel recommendation.
Yeah. And we just need to make sure, yeah, go ahead.
What about other expenses, Al, that we would have, like interest charges when the building is not usable? Because we're
Yes.
paying interest on the bonds of
Mhm.
$26
Yeah.
million.
Yeah, so it's probably a little bit more than the 1,500, Barry. This doesn't, this doesn't capture things like interest. So that's something that we would have to, take into account.
But Barry, those are the things that needs to be calculated when you put in the 1,500. They should have been calculated. Whoever decided to put the
There's the
$1,500.
1,500 a firm number
Yeah.
as liquidated damage, and that's it? You can't
Yeah.
add
This is the
any
contract.
other expenses?
That's part of the contract.
Yeah,
We can put whatever we want in the liquidated damages. I guess the town decided that 1,500 was the number. We could have put 5,000, 10,000 a day, but we didn't do that.
Yeah, it sounds like 1,500 is a drop in the bucket compared to what the actual damages will be.
Yeah,
So-
even the programs. Imagine the program. So I don't know the 15. We could have open in. There are all the winter programs that could have been put there, right? Those are all lost income. But
yeah.
What about, Al, what about, 3 months? That means that's three more extra months of Colliers and 3 extra months of CA from FM. Can that get calculated in? I mean, that's running at about.
Well, I think that's where the $1,500 comes from.
yeah,
What's that?
I think that's where the $1,500 comes from. It's the OPM and
Mhm.
design costs.
Oh.
Are we subject to the Prompt Pay Act with municipal projects?
Yeah. Yeah, this
Sir?
is a chapter 149 project. I'm not sure what you mean by.
So on commercial projects, anything over 3 million is subject to the Prompt Pay Act, which would require us to, if we want to withhold anything, any damages, we'd have to issue a detailed reason in writing within a certain
Yeah.
period of time.
Yeah, I mean, technically, you're still paying them for construction. You're just stating that you're gonna withhold the money. Unless they make up the time. I mean, you're not penalizing it at this point.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's why, we've got more in retainage than we're gonna accrue in penalties.
What's our retainage percentage? Is that
5%.
5%.
5%? So are we
Yeah.
retaining that all the time then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will until substantial completion and then you release it once punch list is done. Yeah. I guess, are they explaining why they're behind? What's driving this? We paid for material. Is this lack of labor? Is this lack of attention? Are there, design issues or management issues that are
Yeah.
holding them up?
Yeah, so the contractor's certainly not giving up on this project. In fact, they are really trying to make as much progress as possible. What they're saying is that it's a combination of things. One of them being, yes, like labor issues with like the mason, for example. That's something that we're dealing with right now. And then as far as the schedule that they provided, I haven't looked at it in detail, but they
Okay.
always, they're saying that there's a lot of things that they're waiting on under review, which I think, I don't know the validity of that necessarily, but they're just throwing a lot of things at the schedule, like they did with the last one, where every single PCO is there, every single RFI, not every single one, but a lot of RFIs are there, things that are just not typical and standard, and so you know,
No, that's not unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wondering why the masonry hasn't started. It's been ready for months. Who's the
Yeah.
mason?
commercial masonry.
Yeah, I don't know them as well. All right.
Yeah,
I
Another
saw them
false
there
bid.
on, I saw them working on Saturday. Could
Yeah,
they,
they've been working Saturdays. I can hear them.
so that they could increase the number of hours, per week?
They
Maybe gain
can.
some feedback?
I'm assuming they're figuring on a 6-day work week going forward.
Hmm.
But if they don't get that masonry done, you're gonna run into winter conditions. And they're gonna want money for that. So
Yeah.
if they don't get,
to also, I think they did, my observation was at the beginning of the project, they had a management issue, the contractor. They went through supervisors, they didn't really have a project manager or a senior project manager. And there was a revolving door of people. I think they lost time there too,
okay,
with mismanagement.
Part of it was also due to the plumbing inspections. So that was, again, we haven't received that official formal delay claim where they're saying how many days they believe, it's what's outside of the contractor's control. But I do believe that there are some days that the project was delayed as a result of the town's inspections process.
Yeah, well, let's wait to
Right.
hear from them on that one, because I don't agree with everything that they're claiming.
We'll continue
All right,
working
so
with,
have we formally requested a recovery plan?
yes.
Okay,
And that's part of the reason why we're withholding this amount from them is we're going to continue to withhold it until we get that corrective plan.
okay, they're general conditions. Or they're,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
That's all in the rec. Okay,
So what leverage, I mean, what leverage does the town have on this? Can we force them to go overtime and increase their labor? What can the town, what do we have?
So right now that one is a little bit tricky because what it looks like it's happening is that the contractor is choosing to pay liquidated damages instead of choosing the route of accelerating the schedule and increasing the workforce on site. So until we have a corrective plan or a recovery schedule, it's hard to enforce it. So right now, this is the one avenue that we have is the liquidated damages that we're holding right now. But the contractor could choose to essentially just pay out the liquidated damages, and the project is going to be turned over when it's going to be turned over.
So they're gonna, seems to me that it doesn't make sense for them to produce an accelerated schedule, because then we can react to that and ask them to increase hours. And it'll maybe cost them more money than just paying the $1,500 a day.
Correct, and they could still be delayed the same if they don't manage it properly. So it's
yeah, sometimes working overtime is, you don't get a lot for the hours that you're spending. It's Saturday work is useful though. But I think we gotta look at the schedule and show when they're doing the paving and landscaping. They're getting tight. So they gotta get that exterior done.
Mhm.
So that we can get landscaping and the site finished before winter comes in, because that's gonna be 2 months now before substantial completion. If they're not gonna give us the building until January, we can't plant after the end of October. So you've got some real deadlines, or they're back in the spring, and we're paying for that.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to look at the landscaping, the schedule, Al, to see when they've got landscaping and paving and
I have
hardscape?
not I have not looked at it in detail, but I know they put it right up on.
It's okay. It is what it is right now. We just gotta,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
you just gotta get that exterior envelope complete. That is the critical path right now.
yeah, Dick, I think some of the landscaping they are showing within the specification, suggested dates. Some of it is definitely far outside of it. They do have evergreens going in like a month from today. We haven't selected those or tagged those yet, so there may be some, expedited work to get that done. But I think, David, as you said before, the masonry is going now. I mean, I think in a month from now, the mason could be off-site. I mean, once they get started and they have the
I
manpower,
doubt it.
they
I
can,
doubt it. No,
fair, fair.
Masonry's gonna be slow.
Well, in the sense of, I'm not worried about cold weather conditions in September, because I do think it's the, getting the envelope. I think it's realistic to look at the, some of the plantings where, it could be a game day decision where we say, so October 15th, are they going in today or not? And then it becomes a spring of, 2025 conversation. But I can imagine there may be several contingency plans for the landscaping. I think for the balance of the site, we've lots of hard surface. There's fencing, there's play equipment, there's other things that I think would make more sense to push on those because there's no difference
Well, yeah,
between
that's what I mean by the landscape.
yeah.
I'm not worried about the plants. I'm worried about the paving, the sidewalks, all the hardscape, getting the basically site to grade.
Yep.
And they can't do that until the masonry's done. And they take the scaffolding down and clean it up. The site's a mess right now. It really is. It's not very well organized. So, and they got a lot of work to do in the next 2 months. Okay.
We'll continue to track this and work with town legal counsel on next steps, and of course keep you all updated on how that's going. Okay, moving on to the budget. I highlighted in yellow the changes from last month. We had a couple of transfers. This is looking at column B as a result of the approved change orders and also vendor contracts for retrofit and AV. Those are again highlighted in column B. I'll go over the invoices in column B1. And our potential exposure on the project is around 325,000. 145,000 of that is for construction and 180,000 in soft costs. I'll go over what those are in the next couple of slides. And worst case scenario, say all of these potential exposures were approved as presented. We are looking at a remaining project contingency of around 64% or 1.89 million. I'm sorry, 1.566 million. Reading at the wrong line. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So looking in more detail, the approved change orders are on the left. So I'm capturing the ones that were approved during the last month. And then looking at the right at the potential change orders, there are two that I want to present for approval recommendation. One of them is PCO number 16 for changes, exterior changes, siding and ceilings. It's misleading. So what that is, these costs or these changes came about from the town's third-party building envelope commissioning agent's review of the drawings and details. They offered a number of recommendations to make the building's exterior wall and roof assemblies and to ensure that they are better performing, more efficient, and longer lasting. One of the examples is, for example, minimizing thermal bridging. Thermal bridging is essentially the loss of heat, say during the wintertime, or too much heat gain during the summertime. And the PCO includes costs for waterproofing, insulation, framing, and roofing subcontractors. Any questions on that PCO?
Well, can we get 42,000? What exactly are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to look at the PCO. Is this is to the exterior soffits?
That's part of it.
Yeah, are we changing material? Or are we just adding flashings and
So
ABB?
in general, the only change in material had to do with an open cell insulation within the canopy. And Al, I'm not sure if you have any of the drawings or any of the commentary that might be helpful to flip through so you can see what we're actually touching.
Yeah, I have
So-
it open,
Okay, great, thank you.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll start at the top. At the light monitor, for example, you know, some of that was just the detailing really to minimize that scope so that we're not getting, so we're, you know, we're keeping the heat in and we're not getting cold points, you know, at the glass. So some of this is, you know, so I mean, to answer your question, it's really more detailing than changes in material. And
So we
then
still have this wood decking,
so
on
we
the
have this,
outside.
yeah, we have the CLT roof slab, so that's really the
Yeah.
roof structure. But what we did was instead of it extending about a foot out, which would be a thermal bridge because it's a continuous piece of material, it got pulled back.
Wood.
And so what we're
Yeah.
creating is a false, you know, wood piece. So when you drive by, it should look like CLT because it will be wrapped in the CLT in the same material. But it is a false, you know,
Okay, we'll never really perceive it. I'm more worried about the durability of a little piece of one by
so what you,
that's
yeah, in the other
being stuck
direction.
out there.
It's a, you know, basically this is a box beam. This is we call it a wood ladder. So the framing is coming out, it's being filled with insulation, and then we still have the roofing that's going around and, you know, it's being wrapped on all sides. So you know, that in and of itself is a box beam that's just being attached to the roof structure.
No, I understand it structurally. I'm talking about the durability of the wood
Okay,
finish. On
So
the other side, because that's exposed and that's just going, you know, what kind of wood is it? I mean, is
it's
it real wood or is it
it's real wood.
a
It's
composite?
it's the same wood that is sourced for the CLT ceiling. So it's European spruce.
That's not going to survive very long on an exterior. That's going to
So
just go and rot. I can promise you. CLT is
the
usually not a good exterior. I've built buildings in CLT. It's not good exposed to water. You don't want
So-
spruce exposed to water.
what we have called here is, you know, if this would be to be sealed as you would any other exterior wood, you know, element for exterior application.
Is there any reason why you couldn't use PVC?
We do have some other PVC on the project. I think most of that is painted because it's near the windows. I think in this area, I'd be more inclined to maybe wrap that with metal because we do have, so what you're seeing there is the standing seam metal roof, which covers kind of two sides. And we have other brake metal
And
and
wrap it
flashing
back
in different
around or-
places.
Or do basically a fake wood. I can't do that.
And yeah, no,
You know,
and David,
real wood is just not, we're gonna be ripping it off in 4 years to
I'm
replace it.
following what you're saying, which is, yes, there are many products that are intended to, you know, to go outside and it's a, you know, it's a composite, it's a fake wood.
Yeah.
But you know what it is,
But-
it's PVC effectively or something
Yeah,
similar.
which is fine, because it looks similar and, you know, that would be a recommendation.
Mhm. I-
'Cause we're never gonna get back up there and it's gonna look gray.
Right,
and-
we are not including a lift as part of this project and there's no ladder up to this part. So in the sense of, you know, maintenance or someone going up there, you're totally right. This as, you know, minimizing, you know, needing to touch this up makes a lot of sense.
Okay,
Thanks,
Okay.
Kate, for adding to my maintenance list.
Carl, we've talked about all of the ladders and places in the building so you can get to all the roofs. There is no ladder here, so any balls get
Why-
kicked up there, they stay there.
And just a quick question. You're using PVC in other areas of the building.
At the windows in the 1910 building, so where there's new windows there is some PVC trim.
Yep.
That, you know, because it's an existing, you know, window openings.
This is a stupid question, but I have to ask it. Painting PVC is a maintenance headache. You cannot get PVC in the color that you guys chose? I'm guessing?
That I would bet $5 that we can't get PVC in the color that we chose.
Okay.
I will also say that what we owned was, the painter to paint a PVC. That's part of the scope. We also have not been submitted something that says, hey, this is what, Hardy or somebody else makes. Here's their, your 6 colors. So that, I guess I should say, we haven't had that conversation. I haven't looked at selectors. The intent of the trim is to match the fiberglass windows.
Yeah.
And the fiberglass windows, obviously different manufacturer, different material.
Yes, I
So
understand all that.
okay.
Okay.
That question hasn't come up. So I'm following what you're saying. We haven't actually even talked about the trim yet in the project, so I'm not sure what the plan is.
Good. So we can talk then.
Add that to my submittal list.
There you go.
Do we have any other real wood exposed outside?
No, we have hardy plank. We've got some, we have some other areas in the building, but that is also getting painted. We have other.
Oh, that's
I
what's
think that is-
underneath the canopy?
Yeah.
It's hardy plank?
Mhm.
Okay, or cementitious plank?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So I think you were flipping through, and I think so at the canopy, there's like I said, there's some adjustments of detailing and I really looking at, and the
Okay.
reason what Al is showing is so FM went through and kind of just highlighted this. We've reviewed with Colliers as well, really just to look at this at a high level, say what's neutral, what hasn't changed, what's an add, and what's a minus. Because as we're vetting this and reviewing it, we want to make sure that we're getting all the scope captured. And primarily, if there's a credit that we need to be kind of pushing back on or making sure it's being captured. And so a part of this process, MOCC did come back and they, responded to the questions about, where scope was coming from. So in general, you look at these pages, there's not a lot of yellow, and that's what I was calling out to be credits. There, if you look in the backup, there is some of it. It's $30 from the roofer, and there's some things that are being adjusted, but for the most part, we're adding scope. There is more framing. There is more blocking or plywood in order to create a a cleaner surface for the ABB or whatever to go to. So at a high
Yeah.
level, what this is it's a more as Al said, it's a better envelope system. And so that's the betterment.
And this is coming from Thrive?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay.
So that's PCO 16. The next one that I wanted to present to the building committee tonight is PCO number 39, concrete curb around the fire protection tank vault. For RFI 45, that's $4,700. And that basically captures the cost with a new concrete curb that was needed around the pump tank. And it is to support a cap, essentially a concrete slab that is about 3,500 pounds that needs to sit on top of that. Now, what's important to note is that the fire protection system on this project, as you all know, is a custom system, and that's we needed to have that to support the fire suppression systems for the project. There's not enough capacity, I guess, in the main lines, and so this being a custom system, this is the structural requirements for this tank is something that wasn't known during design. And so during the submittal process, that's when it was determined that they needed to have a bigger slab that's a lot heavier, and therefore we needed to have those curves around the tank. Katie, let me know if that sounded okay or.
Yeah, I think Elle, you've captured the scope of this. I think this is another one too. If it's helpful, you can kind of flip through the sketches. So the fire protection sub owns the precast cap or lid. And if you go to the very last page, you'll see, yeah, so this we're calling it a cap as if it's like a tiny little thing. It's 6'8" in diameter. And if you scroll down to the bottom, I think it says the weight, it's close to, there we go, 3,440 pounds. So the size of this is large, it's 8 inches tall. The holes that you see there are set up for, first of all, there's some lugs to be able to lift this, and then a series of pipes that will be going through connecting the pump to the tanks below. And the tanks are very, very deep and about 4 feet in diameter. but they're not strong enough to support the pump. So they do need to be connected together, but it's not as if the tank supports the pump. So this cap, and what you're seeing in here in yellow, which is a highlight of the drawings, in reality, it's actually going to sit on top of the slab. So there's a structured slab, there's a very short wall, that's a, just a knee wall, and then the cap sits on top of that.
Is that knee wall down 4 feet below frost?
Knee wall down 4 feet. No, the knee wall is it's part of if you can flip it to a different page, Al, there's a section of the slab. There you
Oh,
go.
right there.
So Carl, when the slab was poured, there was a structured haunch at the edge. So in the middle where it says GC coordinate, that's a little over 5 feet wide. Because the tank is a certain dimension, but there's also, ancillary pieces. So the slab was poured, you can see the haunches on the side. And so the knee wall, is tied into it, but it's not a footer. It's not a foundation wall.
How far away is the curbing from the cap?
So what you see right here, the cap will sit on top of this. So
Yes,
the tent,
but how far from the tank cover is the concrete curbing to?
oh, so the tank fits in between this. So
Yeah, I understand.
the tank is 4 feet. There was a flange around that, and then there was a little bit of space between the tank and the. Thank you, Al. This is fantastic. I've got some details for you to draw. This is great.
Yeah, I get that part.
Okay.
But how far away is the concrete berm that you're
Yeah.
proposing to do? Because it's only a berm, that's not gonna be any structural. To be structural, you gotta go down 4 feet.
So, okay. So I was saying a structural haunch. So like basically the opening in the slab. So we kind of have it's fattened up at the edges, so we can tie in the rebar. It structurally, what we need to do is to lift the cap up so
Yeah.
that there is an airspace between the cap and the
I get
tank.
that. Yeah,
So where Al has drawn, so the tank is the top of the tank is going to be in line with the floor or even lower than that. So there will be an airspace between.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, I get that part.
Okay, I guess I'm sorry, I'm not catching your question. Which dimension are you interested in? Or maybe I'm.
The change order for $5,000 for the curbing, where is that curbing?
Okay, so it's what you're seeing right here. So it's a curb in the sense of it's this concrete scope. And then so it's a curb, but it's this is a section cut through it, so it's actually a circle. The second part is this the haunch below. So it's a fattened slab. So what we owned is I forget if this is a 5-inch slab, something like that. So the additional area here is amending what would be a more traditional, simpler slag. So adding in this haunch and boxing out both the larger space as well as adding this little. It's a knee wall, in the sense of just lifting it up above the floor slab.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the 4-foot
Oh,
frost heaves.
okay, got it.
'Cause
Okay.
you're not gaining anything from that as far as structural to hold that cover up.
No, so this is a slab on grade. Maybe I should have started by
Yeah,
saying that.
it's
So
interior.
yeah,
Makes more sense. Cause I know when we put that above ground tank, we had to put knee walls to support the tank.
got it.
the Existing oil tank. Because it was pushing against the foundation
Oh,
and the stairs that were going down.
okay. So yeah, the
Vertical push.
vertical push. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, I'm thinking curbing, like parking lot curbing.
Yep, got it.
Sorry.
So this is all just to support the pump, the fire pump?
The tank.
Yes.
The tank
Well,
cover.
it's the tank is below, the pump is above, and they have to work together, but the pump can't physically sit on the tank.
Yes.
So yes, David,
Yeah.
this is to support,
Okay.
and the pump is heavy. Part one, I don't have that weight in my
Yeah,
head, but it
no,
also
I
needs
know
to be
fire pumps.
stable. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, usually they're on a housekeeping pad.
exactly.
Um,
And that's what this is. It's effectively another
Hmm.
housekeeping pad. It's almost as if the pad is being provided by fire protection. We had to create a shim, if you will, to put that
Okay.
pad on.
Alright,
To support the
Um,
weight of the pad.
Exactly.
alright, okay.
I will finish by saying almost everyone in this project I've talked to said they have never worked on a project with a fire pump and tank like this. So we're
How
hoping to
old
take
are
all
fire
these
pumps?
lessons learned. Well, I've
Only in
talked to,
Dover. Only in Dover.
Well, no, I've actually had, well, I haven't had tanks like this, but I have lots of fire pumps.
yeah, I should say more specifically the tank, because the pump I think
Yeah.
is, that just goes on a slab on grade. So you've got something unique here, and we'll be sharing these lessons around.
So Katie, so the reason why
Okay.
this wasn't captured in the original documents?
So there's a number of things. I mean, primarily it's coordination of the product that was submitted and approved.
Mhm.
Like anything, there's always, deviation from basis of design and, being open to non-proprietary systems. I think what we're getting, what we, realize is something that's just slightly more robust. Structurally, we needed something that was, really going to support this pump and to make sure that we weren't allowing them to touch each other and really separate them. So that's why this is 8 inches as opposed to, I guess, you could have done something that was shallower, but really they needed to be distinct and separate. So there wasn't, any kind of friction or something that would allow them to.
Rub together.
Thank you. And related to this, and this is not quite to answer your question, Dick, but related to this, immediately above this, we have a roof hatch. That's the only reason we had that roof hatch in that spot is for the, future 20, 30 plus years from now. If that has to be removed, it's located directly above that, so that can come out. That's the part where I'm saying, we want to make sure that we're not in a situation where something is rubbing, and then you have to pull that out and replace it. So I would say structurally, we maybe leaned a little bit to do some belt and suspenders, to make sure that, this was more than adequate.
Okay.
Dick, these are the only 2 PCOs that I wanted to present to everyone tonight.
Okay. Is there any more discussion on these 2 PCOs? If not, yeah,
Dick, sorry to interrupt. One thing that I forgot to mention on this PCO number 39, right now the value that's shown is 4742. The contractor is going back and they are revising the markup. They had like 15% for the subcontractor markup when it's capped at 10%. There's going to be a slight, this number is going to come down slightly. So, just something to note when asking for the motion.
so the motion could be this could be a not to exceed number
Sure.
for our recommendation to the selectmen.
Yes.
Okay. So, do I hear a motion to recommend for approval PCO 16 changes exterior siding / ceilings per ASIs, the amount of $42,034.67, and for PCO concrete curb around fire pump per RFI 45 in a not to exceed amount of $4,742.67.
Motion, I would on change order 16, we're still gonna make some adjustments to the exterior finish material, so it could be changed in the future. Or we'll
So,
get another PCO for that change. So yeah, let's approve what we got and we'll deal with the other issue later. So motion to approve.
okay,
Second,
okay, I'll poll the committee for all those in favor. David,
Yes,
Barry,
Yes,
Luciana,
Yes,
and I am a yes as well. Thank you.
Uh, Great. There's three other PCOs that actually we don't even have the PCOs, but these are items that I am tracking that we're waiting on pricing from the contractor. We have the fence replacement at 4 Whiting Road to go from a chain link to a 6-foot wood fence. We have a contract, a unit price and a contract for that. Waiting on the PCO, and we had a couple other changes from the audiovisual and also the data meetings that we've had. And these are a couple of changes that we're waiting on.
Can I make a comment on that?
Go ahead, Carl.
47, the abutter is not looking for a wood fence. He's looking for a chain link with the slots that they slide in.
I thought that was around the generator, not his property line. I thought we were decided to do a wood fence along the property line.
It was scheduled to replace the present chain link fence along his
Yeah.
property
Yes, and I
to
thought we
a
upgraded it.
higher one. But according to the resident, he does not want to see a wooden fence.
Oh.
More the chain link with a
Okay.
screen in it. I'm just bringing that up, that's all.
No,
that might-
that's fine.
Okay.
If that's
he
coming from the
wants
resident,
the-
that's what he wants. I
he
mean,
wants the chain link fence?
Yes, versus a wood fence.
Carl, what neighbor is that? 4 Whiting Road?
Yeah,
Dover Automotive.
Oh,
yeah, Doug.
okay. Well, because what we had in the contract was a chain link fence, but with the slats. That's what we
Right.
own.
He just wants a taller one,
We had a 4, he wants a 6.
6 or 8 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
He wants more screening. He's not, and it's totally up to the committee. I'm just telling you, I'm trying to keep another issue away from 4 Whiting Road.
No,
So-
that's great.
So Al, I would price out a 6 or an 8-foot chain link fence. And then whoever makes a decision can decide whether a 6-foot wooden fence, 6-foot chain link, or an 8-foot chain link.
Yeah. No, that's good feedback,
In
Carl.
a manner not to slow things up.
Mhm.
To get the issues, because there's still
Yeah.
issues between 4 and the property with, as you guys
Yep.
know, the generator and so on and so forth.
Thanks, Carl. I made a note here, and when I know we were looking at reaching out to Doug through the attorneys, obviously, and
Right.
seeing what we can do, and so if he prefers to do that, then we'll.
I would just get the ball rolling if it was me.
Mhm.
So then the town can decide which way they want to go.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
It's-
yeah, let's see if we can get like an email from the neighbor,
Yeah.
give him the options, what is,
Right,
and get
what he
something
would
in writing
prefer.
on what he wants.
Yeah.
Correct.
'Cause I just want to make sure
Yes.
that's, we'll do it. I
In-
don't have any issue with it, but.
In
let's be sure.
writing, only because legal's involved.
It should go
Yes.
through the town, any of the correspondence should be through the town council.
Yes,
I'm just trying to nip things in the butt and get ahead of the schedule instead of being stale.
yeah,
Well,
no, we appreciate that, Carl.
yeah, thank you for the info, Carl.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the soft costs and the contingency. What I did because of the new schedule that we received from M. O'Connor, I bumped this up from 2 months to 3 months. Obviously, this is worst case scenario. Say the town was on the hook for this, but we know that, we're tracking or we're holding money back and potentially, withholding liquidated damages at the end of the project. So worst case scenario, bump that up to 3 months to align with that. So worst case scenario, we're looking at a remaining contingency of 64%. That's for the 3 months, and that's $1.56 million left. Any questions?
How much are we done with construction?
Oh,
based on
yeah.
the-
Yep. Actually, we can look at that right here, but I do have
Yes,
So,
that's the invoice.
around 40, built as of the end of July, around 43, it's a little bit higher, like 44%. And then the overall project, 45% built.
Yeah, they're saying 46%, but we're holding money. All
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So we're still in good shape.
Looking at the invoices for the month of July, we have Emma Connor's typical invoice for July. The 1,132,527 represents the reduced amount, so we reduced it by the 88,500. We have Collier's typical monthly invoice of 21,154. FMA's monthly invoice of 25,886. We also have Intertext deposit. They were approved by the Board of Selectmen, and they require a deposit of $15,000 to start. So that's what that is. We also have an invoice that I received today. Go ahead, David.
No, never mind. Go ahead.
DPW, we received an invoice today from DPW. This is to remove the Comcast lines that are on the pole that's getting relocated. Those need to be removed in order for the pole to be relocated, and it was going to be relocated as I understand it, for the turning radius for the fire trucks to come in and out of that service drive. So that's for $28.50. And then we also have the typical Eagle Leasing monthly invoice of the $398. Any questions on these invoices?
Do we need to recommend approval on that one now?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we do?
Excuse me, 1 minute, if I may.
Yeah,
What is the cost to move the pole? That was in the contract, or that was on the town?
Yeah, so it's not to move the pole, it's to move the communication lines on that pole. So as I understand it, based on Kevin McCabe, before the pole can be removed, there's a field. It's the Dover fire lines that
Yes.
are on that pole that need to be removed.
Oh,
I didn't realize that Kevin had already gotten a price.
Yep.
They basically gotta come in and just cut one single wire for one pole.
yeah.
Just that's all it is. Yes, they need a bucket truck because Verizon and Comcast won't move to the new pole until that fire line, because it's above their communications.
Right.
So I can't see the price that you got down there, Al, because
Yeah.
you guys are in the way.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed, I believe that invoice it's for their. Let me look at it.
$2,800. Okay.
Yeah.
To cut a wire? I got Saturday off. I can go up on a pole.
I'll bring you the ladder.
That power's been dead for a long time.
So this
Yeah.
is the part. It's for they're gonna remove it from 4 utility poles. It's not just that one.
Well, the 4 poles, no offense, has nothing to do with the Carroll project,
Right.
correct?
I think one of them at least. So you have a good point.
Just the
yeah.
one at the end, the exit, the existing exit. I don't know, maybe
this
I'm
is-
wrong. Did the town request new poles, or is that done from Verizon, or is that done through Eversource?
Well, these guys are the ones they're just gonna be removing the fire alarm cables.
Yeah, oh, so you did get a price. He did get a price. from
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
company.
28.50.
Okay,
Yeah.
And this is for Dover Fire Department municipal line. Are they reinstalling the municipal line, or are we just?
it
removing-
was for the external pole boxes on all the
Yeah.
town buildings, which we have not used in 15 years. but the wire is still rung. If you,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
it's
there's still a lot of
standing on-
times for municipal lines, so.
most of the time, fire departments are responsible, from what I understand, to maintain that line.
Yep.
Anyways, I was just a little surprised at the cost. You can't move the communication lines from Verizon and Comcast until they've been relocated on Springdale. If you're looking at the community center, you'll see a red wire. That's the line that has to be removed.
Yep.
And there's 4 new poles that were installed on the property perimeter. Anyways, that's just my take. For what it's worth.
I'm not sure we got a choice, though. We still gotta take the line down.
No, the line definitely has to come down. I'm not saying that. I'm just.
Yeah, no, I know, but yeah, I agree with you. $2,800 is a lot of money for, get a guy up in a bucket truck for 2 hours.
Well, you gotta have a police detail too. At $70 an hour. 4-hour minimum.
Yep.
Sorry. I'll try to keep my mouth shut for the rest of the night.
All right.
All right, any more discussion on the monthly invoices? If not, then I hear a motion to approve the monthly invoices for July per this summary totaling $1,197,815,069.
Motion.
There's a
Second,
Okay, I'll poll the committee. All those in favor, David Billings,
Yes.
Luciano,
Yes.
Barry,
yes.
and I am a yes as well.
Okay, that pretty much concludes my presentation. I'm not sure if there's any citizens on the line. Citizen comments, any?
I don't think there is anybody on now.
That doesn't appear to me as well. I know, Carl, you had mentioned the IT meeting. So just curious, Al, if you could just give us a very quick synopsis of the IT meeting on Friday.
Yeah, so we had a really good meeting on site with the electrician, with Retrofit, who's doing the tel data for the project. They already work with the town of Dover. They are familiar with their infrastructure and their standards, and as well as Okers, who's the audio and video vendor for the project. And we essentially went through the scope of work from all 3 sides, just to make sure that we know who owns what and that we are coordinated on that end. So that was a really good meeting. We walked the site after the meeting, and as a result of that, there's potentially a small change order that's coming up. I guess neither Retrofit or the electrician own a hanging of the wireless access point, so there's going to be a small cost for that. Retrofit would have had to essentially reach out to outsource the work to yet another company, and for that reason, we decided to it's probably better to just keep it in house with Griffin, where they're working on a price for that. And there were a couple other miscellaneous items. It's not going to be a big change order that we're waiting on pricing from Griffin, who's the electrician on the project. But overall, a good meeting. We're in good shape on that for that scope.
Is it change order have to do with the whips?
Yeah, that's one of the things that they're pricing right now.
Yep. Okay, just wondering.
Any,
As long as it's good to hear that we know who's responsible for doing what.
Yeah.
Instead of, wow, we got to put a question in. That's not my scope. That's his scope. That's this, that, and the other thing. So I'm glad all 3 are on the same page.
Definitely.
and all 3 on the same page. Is that, how about M. O'Connor? Are they all set? Is there any scheduling implications?
no scheduling implications. Em O'Connor was also Ed was also there on the meeting, so that was really helpful. So I think we're all on the same page.
Great.
Well, that way they know who's responsible for what.
Okay.
Saves an RFI, Dick.
And all the discussion that happens that follows,
Yes.
as you know, in those Tuesday meetings. Okay.
I may be, speaking of Tuesday meetings, I may be a little late tomorrow. I have something to do with Carroll Park Wellfield.
Okay, thanks for the heads up.
So, I'm gonna do my best to get there at 9:30.
Okay, great. Okay, future meeting dates, which Al's got on the screen. We'll do this again on September 9th. And unless there's any other business, is there, oh, let me ask the question, any other business?
Nope.
Okay, if not, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor, David,
Yes.
Luciano,
Yes.
Barry? Excuse me, yeah, I got Barry. Barry, you said yes too?
yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and I'm a yes as well. Okay, thank you all very much. Have a
All
good
right.
day.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye,
Thank you.
everyone. Good night.